Remember the electric anticipation of Christmas morning in the 1980s? When wrapping paper crackled with possibility, each gift represented more than just a toy. It was a portal to imagination, a symbol of technological wonder, and a ticket to belonging. The 1980s weren't just a decade of neon colors and big hair, they were a transformative era where childhood itself was being reimagined through innovation, creativity, and unstoppable optimism. Today, we're unwrapping 20 iconic Christmas gifts that didn't just entertain. They shaped an entire generation's dreams. Cabbage Patch Kids weren't just dolls. They were a cultural phenomenon that redefined what it meant to own a toy. When they first appeared in 1982, created by Xavier Roberts and manufactured by Coleco Industries, these soft-bodied dolls with their distinctive plastic heads sparked something unprecedented: adoption fever. What made Cabbage Patch Kids revolutionary wasn't their appearance, but their concept. Each doll came with a unique adoption certificate, transforming ownership into a deeply personal experience. Children weren't just playing with a toy, they were welcoming a new family member, complete with an individual name and birth certificate. The adoption process created an emotional connection that transcended typical toy ownership. Parents camped outside stores, fought in aisles, and paid premium prices to secure these dolls for their children. By 1983, they became the most successful new doll introduction in toy industry history. When adoption became a cultural moment, another puzzle was about to challenge minds worldwide. The Rubik's Cube was more than a puzzle. It was a mathematical marvel disguised as a toy. Created in 1974 by Hungarian architect Erno Rubik. This three-dimensional mechanical puzzle became a global obsession when it hit international markets in 1980. Originally called the Magic Cube, this deceptively simple-looking toy represented a complex mathematical challenge. With 43 quintillion possible configurations, solving the cube became a badge of intellectual honor. Children and adults alike spent countless hours twisting and turning, seeking that elusive solved state. By March 2021, over 450 million cubes had been sold worldwide, making it the best-selling puzzle game in history. The cube transcended being a toy. It became a symbol of problem-solving, persistence, and the joy of intellectual challenge. Mathematical challenges gave way to digital revolutions as another gift was about to transform home entertainment forever. The Nintendo Entertainment System wasn't just a gaming console, it was a cultural reset button for an entire industry. When it launched in North America in 1985, the video game market was recovering from a catastrophic crash that had nearly destroyed the entire industry. Nintendo didn't just sell a machine, they sold a promise of quality, innovation, and endless adventure. The NES came with groundbreaking games like Super Mario Bros., which revolutionized platform gaming and introduced characters that would become global icons. Each cartridge was a portal to a different world. Children could be plumbers, saving princesses, warriors battling dragons, or heroes exploring alien landscapes. The NES sold over 61 million units worldwide, single-handedly reviving the video game industry and establishing Nintendo as a household name. If you're enjoying this nostalgic journey, subscribe to Vintage America Tales for more incredible stories from America's past. Transformers were more than action figures. They were engineering marvels that captured the decade's fascination with technology and transformation. Launched by Hasbro in 1984, these toys could shift from vehicles to robots, embodying the era's belief that anything was possible. Each Transformer told a story of dual identity: a car that became a warrior, a plane that transformed into a hero. The accompanying animated series created an entire mythology, with Autobots and Decepticons representing eternal struggles between good and evil. The genius of Transformers lay in their complexity. They weren't simple toys, but intricate puzzles that required skill, patience, and imagination. Children didn't just play with Transformers, they mastered them, learning mechanical thinking and spatial reasoning through play. Mechanical transformation met magical worlds as another toy line was about to capture hearts with colorful ponies. My Little Pony wasn't just a toy line, it was a universe of friendship, color, and imagination. Created by Hasbro in 1981, these colorful ponies with distinctive cutie marks represented more than playthings. They were companions in storytelling. Each pony had a unique personality, symbolized by the mark on its flank. Children could collect, trade, and create elaborate narratives around these characters. The toy line sold 150 million ponies by 1990, becoming a cultural touchstone for an entire generation. What made My Little Pony special was its emphasis on individuality and friendship. Each pony celebrated different traits: creativity, loyalty, kindness, teaching children that diversity was something to be celebrated, not feared. When ponies celebrated friendship, another hero was about to teach lessons of strength and courage. He-Man wasn't just an action figure. He was a symbol of transformation and heroism. The Masters of the Universe toy line, launched by Mattel in 1982, created an entire fantasy world where ordinary Prince Adam could transform into the mighty He-Man. The accompanying animated series, which ran from 1983 to 1985, turned these toys into cultural icons. Each episode ended with a moral lesson, making He-Man both entertainment and education. The phrase, "I have the power," became a rallying cry for children everywhere. The toy line's success lay in its world building: Castle Grayskull, Battle Cat, Skeletor. Each element created a rich mythology that encouraged imaginative play. Children weren't just collecting toys, they were building entire universes. Heroic adventures gave way to portable gaming as another innovation was about to fit entertainment in your pocket. Game & Watch devices were revolutionary. They were gaming's first truly portable experience, created by Nintendo's legendary designer Gunpei Yokoi between 1980 and 1991. These handheld electronic games were technological marvels that could fit in a pocket. Each device was a self-contained gaming experience with an LCD screen, simple controls, and addictive gameplay. They could play a single game and function as a clock, making them both toy and practical devices. The simplicity was their genius. Games like Octopus and Fire offered quick, challenging entertainment. Game & Watch sold millions of units worldwide, establishing Nintendo's dominance in portable gaming long before the Game Boy. They represented a fundamental shift. Entertainment was no longer tied to a television or arcade. Which of these gifts brings back your fondest Christmas memories? Share your stories in the comments. Care Bears weren't just plush toys. They were emotional ambassadors teaching children about feelings and empathy. Created in 1981 by artist Alina Kukrick for American Greetings. These colorful bears each represented a different emotion or value. Each bear had a unique symbol on its stomach, a belly badge representing its personality. Tenderheart Bear promoted love, Cheer Bear spread happiness, and Grumpy Bear showed that even negative emotions had their place. The accompanying animated films and TV series created a rich mythology around these characters. Care Bears represented the 1980s growing awareness of emotional intelligence. They taught children that feelings weren't something to hide but to understand and express. The franchise generated hundreds of millions in sales, proving that emotional education could be both profitable and meaningful. Emotional Bears gave way to irreverent humor as another card series was about to shock and delight. Cabbage Patch Kids were pure rebellion in card form, a satirical, gross-out series that delighted children and horrified parents. Created by Topps in 1985 as a parody of Cabbage Patch Kids, these cards featured grotesque illustrations with punny names like Atom Bomb and Nasty Nick. They were banned in schools, condemned by parents, and absolutely beloved by kids. The controversy only fueled their popularity, generating $300 million in sales and proving that children craved humor adults didn't control. Rebellious cards gave way to adoptable puppies as another toy line was about to tug at heartstrings. Pound puppies were more than plush toys. They were a social statement about adoption and compassion. Created by Mike Bowling and manufactured by Tonka in 1984, these soft, floppy-eared dogs came with adoption certificates, teaching children about responsibility and care. Each pound puppy was housed in a doghouse-shaped cardboard case, emphasizing the adoption narrative. The toys generated $300 million in sales across 35 countries, proving that children responded to toys with emotional depth and social meaning. The genius of pound puppies was their message. In an era of consumerism, they taught that every creature deserved love and a home. The accompanying animated series reinforced these values, making pound puppies both entertainment and moral education. Adoptable puppies marched alongside another iconic toy line celebrating American heroism. G.I. Joe wasn't just an action figure. It was the action figure, a concept invented by Hasbro in 1964 that was revolutionized in 1982 with the Real American Hero line. These 3.75-inch figures came with detailed backstories, vehicles, and an entire mythology of heroism. The relaunch coincided with an animated series that created a rich narrative universe. G.I. Joe wasn't a single hero, but a team, each member with unique skills and personalities. They battled the evil Cobra organization, creating storylines that combined military action with science fiction. What made G.I. Joe special was its world building. Each figure, vehicle, and playset contributed to an expanding universe. Children weren't just collecting toys, they were building armies, creating strategies, and imagining epic battles. Military heroes gave way to educational innovation as another toy was about to make learning interactive. The Speak and Spell wasn't just a toy, it was a technological breakthrough that made learning feel like magic. Created by Texas Instruments in 1978 and hugely popular throughout the 1980s. This electronic device used speech synthesis technology to teach spelling and pronunciation. Featuring a keyboard, small screen, and the ability to audibly spell and pronounce words, the Speak and Spell made education interactive and engaging. It sold millions of units and became so iconic that it even appeared in the movie E.T., the Extraterrestrial. The device represented the 1980s belief that technology could enhance education. Children weren't passively learning, they were interacting with a machine that responded to their input, making mistakes a part of the learning process rather than something to fear. Educational technology met storytelling magic as another toy was about to bring tales to life. Teddy Ruxpin was more than a talking bear. He was a storytelling revolution. Created by Ken Force and launched in 1985, this animatronic toy featured a cassette deck in its back that played stories while moving its mouth and eyes in perfect synchronization. The technological innovation was remarkable. Teddy didn't just play audio, he performed it, creating an immersive storytelling experience. Children could watch their teddy bear come to life, narrating adventures in the magical land of Grundo. Teddy Ruxpin became the best-selling toy of 1985 and 1986, generating hundreds of millions in sales. He represented the decade's fascination with bringing technology and imagination together, creating experiences that felt genuinely magical. Storytelling bears gave way to gaming consoles as another system was about to define home entertainment. The Atari 2600 was home gaming's first true revolution, originally released in 1977 but reaching peak popularity in the early 1980s. This console introduced the concept of interchangeable game cartridges, transforming how families experienced entertainment. Before the Atari 2600, gaming was confined to arcades or single-purpose consoles. This system brought arcade experiences home, with games like Space Invaders, Pac-Man, and Pitfall becoming household names. Families gathered around televisions taking turns and competing for high scores. The console sold over 30 million units, establishing video gaming as a legitimate form of home entertainment. Despite contributing to the video game crash of 1983 with poorly made games, the Atari 2600 laid the foundation for the entire modern gaming industry. Gaming revolutions gave way to sweet-scented dolls, as another toy line was about to delight senses. Strawberry Shortcake dolls weren't just toys, they were sensory experiences, created by Barbie Sargent for American Greetings in the early 1970s but exploding in popularity during the 1980s. These scented dolls each smelled like their namesake fruit or dessert. Each doll represented a different character: strawberry shortcake, blueberry muffin, lemon meringue, creating a colorful universe of friendship and adventure. The accompanying animated specials created rich storylines that emphasized kindness, cooperation, and problem-solving. The scented feature was revolutionary. Children could smell strawberries, blueberries, or lemons, creating a multi-sensory play experience. This innovation made Strawberry Shortcake dolls memorable in ways that transcended typical toy experiences. Have you kept any of these toys from your childhood? Tell us in the comments. When sensory play gave way to cognitive challenges, another game was about to test the limits of memory and concentration. Simon was more than a game. It was a test of memory and concentration. Created in 1978. This electronic game challenged players to repeat increasingly complex sequences of lights and sounds using colored buttons. The brilliance lay in its simplicity. Players repeated patterns that grew longer with each round. Failure meant starting over. Simon taught cognitive skills while being genuinely fun, proving educational games could be entertaining. Memory games gave way to creative construction as another toy was about to build imaginations. Lego wasn't just a toy, it was a philosophy of creativity, problem-solving, and limitless possibility. While Lego had existed since 1949, the 1980s saw explosive growth with themed sets like Space, Castle, and Pirates that captured children's imaginations. Each Lego set was both a specific creation and infinite potential. Children could follow instructions to build a spaceship or castle, then dismantle it and create something entirely new. This dual nature, structured and freeform, made Lego uniquely educational. Lego taught engineering principles, spatial reasoning, and creative thinking. Children learned that mistakes weren't failures, but opportunities to rebuild differently. By the 1980s, Lego had become a global phenomenon, selling billions of bricks and inspiring generations of builders, architects, and engineers. Creative construction met imaginative play as another toy line was about to introduce diverse characters. Fisher-Price Little People weren't just toys, they were the first characters in children's imaginative worlds. Originating in the 1960s, but evolving significantly in the 1980s. These chunky, colorful figures and their accompanying playsets taught children about social interactions and daily life. Each playset represented a different environment: farms, schools, fire stations, airports, introducing children to various aspects of the world. The figures were designed for small hands, promoting fine motor skills and imaginative role-playing. Little People taught children about community, cooperation, and the interconnectedness of different roles in society. By 2019, over 2 billion figures had been sold, making it one of the most successful toy lines in history. Imaginative play extended to galaxies far, far away as another toy line was about to capture cinematic magic. Star Wars action figures weren't just toys, they were portable pieces of cinematic mythology. Kenner's 3.75-inch figures, which began in 1978 but exploded in popularity throughout the 1980s, allowed children to recreate their favorite movie moments and imagine new adventures. Each figure represented a character from the Star Wars universe: Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Princess Leia, with intricate details that captured the essence of the films. By 1985, over 100 different figures had been produced, creating an entire galaxy of collectible characters. What made these figures revolutionary was their ability to transform play into storytelling. Children weren't just moving plastic figures, they were continuing epic narratives, creating their own Star Wars adventures that extended far beyond the movie screen. Galactic heroes gave way to illuminated creativity as another toy was about to spark imagination. Lite-Brite was more than a toy, it was a portal to visual imagination. First introduced in 1967 but reaching peak popularity in the 1980s, this light-up design toy allowed children to create glowing masterpieces by inserting colored plastic pegs into a black screen. Each Lite-Brite came with design templates, but the real magic was in free-form creation. Children could design landscapes, portraits, abstract art, all illuminated by a simple light bulb. The translucent pegs in red, blue, orange, white, green, yellow, and pink offered endless possibilities. More than an art tool, Lite-Brite taught color theory, design principles, and spatial reasoning. It transformed ordinary play into a luminous experience of creativity and wonder. These 20 Christmas gifts were more than just toys. They were time machines, educational tools, and portals to imagination. Each represented a moment in 1980s culture, a time of technological optimism, creative exploration, and unbridled possibility. If you savored this nostalgic journey through childhood memories, subscribe to Vintage America Tales. We're preserving the incredible stories of American innovation, one cherished memory at a time.